Hello, everyone. Welcome back for more tinfoil hat conspiracy board time for 13 Sentinels. Joining me is StarPrincessHLC.
Yakisoba pan.
And I want to make sure I introduce this right. Also joining me is a penguin who doesn't have the fucking time for this. Also known as J.K. Lantern. I have no idea what the context of that quote is, so it fits right in with the 13 Sentinels video.
The context would be a raincoat video, trust me.
Yeah.
So last we left off, we managed to recap the 5th recording session we had, which means we're up to the 6th one. My god. And we start with video 56. We begin with event 44 on the timeline, which seems really goddamn early for what happens in this, but eh. We have Tomi in the Kyakicho shopping district, and we're in 1985. She wanders around, and she's kind of in awe at all the new, quote-unquote, time period, and muses on how many phone booths a place really needs, then sees the old bus and the old car designs as novel. She notes the signs that would have been found in the Showa-era tag online, and finds even the stoplights are kinda big. Rinya, apparently rolling his eyes at the scene, approaches her and tells her to stop wandering off on her own. She asks him if smartphones really aren't invented yet and wonders how people actually talk to each other. She starts to run off again and then sees Ninji squatting in the street, as he does. She remarks that they really are in the 80s and she can't believe the hair. Ninji takes notice. Tomi approaches him and saying that she can't stop laughing, and questions the hair more and that the Showa era is goddamn weird. He asks what the hell she's laughing at, and she confirms that it's his hair. He asks if she's trying to start something, and Rinya approaches, trying to intervene, asking Ninja to excuse him as Tomi has difficulty with social interaction.
We're sorry, Tomi's an idiot. I can't say that about Tomi. I love Tomi.
Yeah.
She objects to the way this makes her sound, and Rinya asks Ninja to carry on, because Rinya plans to talk to her about this later. Ninja says his day is gone and just kinda leaves. Rinya pulls Tomi aside and tells her to stop causing problems because they're only there with the help of the local facilitators, and they basically are foreign refugees. He asks if she knows where to find Sakura High, as she'll kind of adjust quickly because it's the same school, to which she counters that everyone from that school is old enough to be her mom, so it's not the same, and her school is back in 2025. She talks about the facilitators being Shikishima and asks if they aren't just being used because all she thinks Shikishima cares about is getting their hands on future tech. Rinya tells her that isn't her concern. Tomi muses that she was set to turn 16 next month in 2025 and wonders exactly how old she is now.
That is a valid question.
That is one of those questions that will make you ponder for a very long time, yeah. She tells him to take her back to her time, and he explains again that that world is destroyed. She says if that's true, she needs to help her mom and dad, and Rinya says it is too late for that, as they aren't going to be there, and she probably wouldn't get the clearance to time jump. She asks if that's another of their orders, and she didn't ask to get dragged into any of this. She then follows up and wonders if she's just supposed to take whatever he says, and he answers precisely, and says she should consider herself lucky she escaped with him. She muses about Shikishima being a manufacturer of everything, and then how she has yet to see the destroyed world of 2025, and even if she begged to check it out, Shikishima probably wouldn't let her unless she had some leverage over them. So she needs to make an offer they can't refuse. Rinya tells her that the next orders are to stop acting on her own, to remain inconspicuous, and attend school as usual, and then we fade to black. We fade into Event 59 on the timeline. Somewhat of a jump, but still, it feels really goddamn early for when all this is happening. It's break time at school. Iori is out cold at her desk, and by that I mean asleep. I have to clarify with this game. Tomi stands next to a pile of books in the old building class 1B. Miwako approaches and greets Tomi before inquiring about all the books that got checked out. She asks to take a look at the pile and brushes off Tomi's assertion that they aren't really interesting. Miwako finds Business Quarterly, Corporate Guides, Economic Reports, and kinda calls it impressive before she asks if Tomi's studying for a business career. Tomi says she's just looking for dirt on big shady corporations to control them a little, and Miwako says that's a little weirder than she expected. Tomi sighs looking at the pile and mentioning this would be so much easier with the internet. Miwako kinda looks at her and goes, "Internet?" And Tomi tries to brush it off as calling it just some business slang. Miwako says she found a cafe that had good cakes and asks Tomi if she wants to try it out, to which Tomi says sure, but it'll be hard to beat the crepes from yesterday.
Crepes.
Then, she talks about the crepes back home being a bit crazy with toppings. Miwako says that is a good point and asks if they can go ahead and get both. Because Miwako. Tomi looks at Iori and wonders how one person can actually sleep that much. Then she manages to look at the books again and decides that she was unable to find much more than easily accessible material on Shikishima. Tomi asks Miwako if she knows anything about this company, and Miwako says she has a friend who has a father that works for them. Tomi asks to be introduced, and Miwako agrees. There's probably a Chekhov's gun or two in that whole situation, but we'll get there when we get there. Let's see. We need 5 cards. See, I believe that a lot of what I am about to put down came up in a past video, but I decided, at the time I didn't think to actually keep track of it. But then after this one, for some reason I thought I better keep track of it. Because it doesn't seem all that useful, but I know how this game is, and the most inconsequential things can come into some form of usefulness. So I'm mostly just putting in the fact that the different classes exist. Put you guys right up here. Let's see. And most of these strings are just going to be marking off who's in what class here. Most of them. Not all of them.
Oh, God.
My eyesight ain't that good anymore.
My eyesight's not that good anymore. Have you looked at this recently? Legibility is now a secondary concern.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Possibly a tertiary concern.
I think we're into the. I think it's into the 5th or 6th stage. And let's see. Tomi insults Ninji's hair. That's how their whole thing starts. She insults his goddamn hair.
At least he's not butter.
At least he's not butter. This is true. And the facilitators are here helping Tomi integrate into this area. Oh wait, that's later. Where to put Shikishima? There you are. Because the nickname for Shikishima in one form is facilitators. Let's see. Let's see, so Yuki, according to all the work we've seen so far, is a member of Class 1A. Tomi, member Class 1B. Miwako, also a member Class 1B. Okay, which one of the very unreadable ones was Iori? Let's see. There you are.
Iori's just a black hole.
You're getting there. Also a member of Class 1B.
So which line do we follow?
The black line.
Ah, you mean the gray line?
Now the black one.
Is that the black one or the black one?
Yes.
You hear that? We have to follow the black line, or perhaps the black line.
You lead.
Off we go. Another lesson in life we are sure to get.
And I'm going to say this because I know it will make someone laugh. Kyuta, also a member of Class 1B. And the people that don't know this game are going, "What's so funny?"
Give it a bit.
You need a few. We need a few more videos to come out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where the hell was not? There's Natsuno.
Natsuno Minami.
Natsuno Minami.
Gotta say the full name.
You were in Class 1C, along with Megami, who is also close to a black hole. And then we have one member of Class 2A. At least as of this video. And that would be Rinya.
It's because he's a second year, 2A.
Yeah.
There you go. I think there are only 2 second years in the group.
And I don't think one of them actually attends school. At least so far, they have not given the other second year class number. At least not that I've heard, anyway. Okay, video 57. We fade back in to event 61 on the timeline. Which, a little weird, considering we literally just walked out of the room and walked to a passageway, and there's an entire event that gets skipped in the timeline for this. Tomi and Miwako are standing behind the school science room. Tomi asks if Miwako might have gotten the meeting time wrong as no one's there, or if they ditched. Miwako says, oh, he'll be there because he doesn't break promises. At this point, Ninji walks up and says he's there, and Tomi recognizes him as the Pompadour guy, and then turns to Miwako and says, what the hell's he doing here? Miwako replies that this is her old friend. Tomi asks if she's kidding, and Ninji asks where she is while combing his hair, asking about the girl that wanted to ask him out.
Well, if it isn't the consequences of Tomi's actions.
In this case, Miwako's actions. Because Tomi expresses a lot of surprise here, and Miwako clarifies to Ninji that she did mean Tomi. Ninji recognizes her as the girl that made fun of his hair and calls her a dog face in return. Tomi does not get the insult, but realizes that he's not exactly calling her a cute puppy. Tomi asks Miwako what was said, what Miwako told him, and she replies that she just told him a girl she knew wanted to tell him something. Tomi asks exactly how dumb Ninji is to confuse that for some type of confession, and he says, hey, I'm standing right here, you know. Ninji and Tomi are both annoyed that this was the meeting, that this meeting was between each other and not people they actually wanted to see. Miwako asks if they can all calm down, and the scene pans right to see Iori run towards them, and she starts to yell out that she's been looking all over for them before a flash that happens in their direction, an explosion sound, and some electrical arcs happen where the trio were, knocking Iori to the ground. Iori stands up, walks over to the now empty space, and wonders where the hell they went. Fade to black.
They went to 80 miles an hour.
Something like that, while standing perfectly still.
Impressive.
We fade in to event 64 in the timeline. We find Miwako standing over a very collapsed Tomi and near Ninji, squatting and holding his head on a ruined city street. Tomi comes to and stands up, much to Miwako's relief. Tomi asks what happened, and Miwako said she only knows there was a flash, and then there they were. Tomi asks if Captain Pompadour is still alive. He replies what his name is Ninji Ogata, and asked Dogface to get it straight. She replies with, well, excuse me, Captain Pompadour, and then says her name's Tony Kisaragi, and tells him not to give her any nicknames. Miwako interjects to tell them it's not really a good time to fight. She asks what happened to the buildings, and Ninji says it looks like they were attacked. Tomi asks what he knows, and he says he knows that the city got leveled, and mentions the flash they saw and thinks it must have been a nuke. Miwako is surprised, and Tomi says that since they were just at school and now they're downtown, that doesn't really add up. Ninji figured the blast knocked him over here, and Tomi just calls him a moron. Miwako starts to freak out about the nuclear possibility and how radiation means they're going to die from that. Tomi tells Miwako to take some deep breaths, and then turns to Ninji and calls him a roach that could probably survive the nuke. Ninji asks what else could have happened. Tomi thinks and comes to a realization and looks around. She realizes they're in the Kyakucho shopping district. Miwako agrees, and Ninji asks if she realizes how far that actually is from school. Miwako asks where everyone else is. Tomi asks if anyone hears anything, and then we see a couple of the RPFs fly by in the far distance, and Miwako asks if that's a rescue helicopter. Ninji doesn't know what the hell they are, and says Tomi recommends they all hide, which they do. He asks if that's some type of bug, but just very big. The coast clears, and Tomi finally mentioned that this is very likely 2025 to the pair. He asks if she's crazy, and she replies that it was her home, and she's from the future. Miwako yells that they have an emergency, and she found someone else. We fade to black and to be continued as that section of story ends. So clearly, the most important of cards are about to be laid on the table here.
Question will be if we'll be able to find them later.
Nah.
We have Dogface.
To be fair, dogs are adorable.
And we have Captain Pompadour. The most important of cards.
Cousin to Captain Falcon, clearly.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, in one of those superhero novels I have, there's a supervillain whose name is Captain Bullshit. He's a reality warper. He's viewed, like, whenever he shows up, like, the heroes are like, oh no. Guys, Captain Bullshit's up to it again. Yeah, great.
So he's like Squirrel Girl.
Eh?
Let's see, we have Miwako and Ninji as old friends.
Chipmunk hunk.
Chipmunk hunk.
Tomy has a new nickname. Ninji has a new nickname. Let's see, I would update a string, but there's not much point to updating the string since they don't work the way they're supposed to.
Besides, at this point, we can't tell what string is who.
Oh, we can, actually. We just pick up the card and... We pick up the card and it actually moves all that around. Excuse me.
Won't be long before, like, all the greens are on one side and all the yellows are on the other.
They'll be in a big circle. All these squares will make a circle.
Why is that one green?
Let's
why not?
see. But there was a note that had Tomy residing in Sector 3. Which I'm gonna figure out where I put Sector 3 now. And I would normally update that one. There it is. I would normally have updated that one with the extra bit that, hey, look, she shifted back to it. But now I just need to mark down that Ninji and Miwako both ended up getting warped to Sector 3. And events over the last couple of videos have indeed been still on my mind at this point, because it's like, huh, things happened there and I don't understand why. But that's for a later time to actually get into. So now we are up to video 58. The event doesn't have a timestamp in the event log anywhere. We are back with Tomy, who is still stranded in 2025 Keiakicho with Miwako and Ninji. Tomy realizes she's kinda thirsty and walks back into what's left of the building near them to see Miwako sitting over an unconscious Ryoko. Miwako says she was struggling but finally settled down and needs to see a doctor. Tomy asks how they're supposed to get her there. Both Tomy and Miwako refer to Ryoko as Senpai, and Miwako asks if maybe she came there at the same time. Tomy says probably, but they'll figure it out when she wakes up, and they'll decide what to do next when Ninji gets back. Ninji returns, and everybody kind of looks at each other. Tomy considers that she's seen Ryoko and Goto hang around together, and wonders if that means Ryoko is also from the future. Tomy chides Ninji a bit for running off just to go find his own house, and he asks how the sickly second year is. Miwako says she hasn't woken up, so Ninji says they were stuck there either way. Miwako asks how his house is, and before talking about it, he hands over some canned sodas to the pair, remarking they'll need some food and water. He also found a calendar that actually did mark the years 2025, and then adds that just about everything was ruined, and he ran into some crazy stuff like some dead kaiju. Tomy asks about his house, and he says it was replaced by a skyscraper that wasn't looking too hot. Miwako asks about her place, and he says that it's basically just a giant parking lot now. She asks about her parents, and Ninji says that 40 years have passed, so he doesn't know. Ninji says the dead kaiju looked like a massive centipede, another was about the size of a building. He says he never liked creepy crawly things, so he couldn't stand looking at them too long. Tomi asks how he knew they were dead, and he said they were kind of torn apart and sarcastically asks if she wants to see it. Tomi decides she actually does and starts to walk off, with Ninji telling her to wait. He turns, tells Miwako to stay with Ryoko, and they fade to black. We fade in to Event 66 on the timeline. Ninji walking on screen at Misumicho Kaiju remains. He calls out to Tomi to point out a dead one, and Tomi goes to look at it. They confirm the death, and Tomi says it looks more like a machine. It reminds her she was talking to Natsuno, and this could be an alien weapon. She recalls something about Chihiro and Megami, and wonders if they were going to fight this. She finds a control panel and thinks it looks too familiar for alien technology. Ninji walks a bit away, and Tomi asks what's going on. He replies that he thinks he saw someone back in the rubble. She didn't see it, and thinks his eyes are playing tricks on him, but he swears he did. Suddenly, with an "oh shit," he tells Tomi to hide as he ducks inside the shell of the kaiju. As both of them take cover, a humanoid robot endoskeleton shows up, surveys the area, and then leaves. Tomi and Ninji emerge from the shell when the coast is clear. Tomi asks if that's an alien, and Ninji says the only thing he knows is that it's bad news straight out of the movies, and Tomi remarks that it kinda looks like the Exterminator. Tomi notices the Shikishima Industries logo and points it out to Ninji, who expresses surprise at seeing it on the inside of the kaiju, and realizes that all the kaiju were likely Shikishima made. Tomi investigates a control panel while realizing that the attack was man-made and wonders why, and a screen with the Shikishima logo appears. Well, it pops up, stating that it scanned biometric ID but denied access because no match was found. She tries a few times with the 3 colored buttons but to the same result, and Ninji finally offers to try. When he does, the scanner recognizes an authorized board member administrative ID. He thinks it's because his dad's an executive, and when Tomi calls him a rich kid, he tells her to shut it. The screen calls out that it's Shikishima Interstellar Development Division, year 2188, and starts talking about terraforming Project 8834. Tomi expresses surprise at the thought of terraforming another planet. The screen brings up the third phase, surface construction and modification. It shows a picture of the dead kaiju and calls it the D-800 Colossal Autonomous Heavy Machinery D-Series D-800, aka Surface Excavation Unit, the Giant Molar. Tomi wonders what futuristic terraforming machines are doing in the past, and Ninji has no answer. We hit a to be continued screen. Okay. We also hit the end of the video. Again, the most important of cards there. Bug.
Go, Venonet!
I mean, Heracross was pretty awesome.
Heracross is pretty awesome.
I mean, I think Lantern and I both consider Scyther to be the best bug Pokemon.
It's up there, yeah. I love the design of Scyther. I like it better than the design of Scizor, actually.
Yeah, something about that upgrade wasn't an upgrade for me.
Yeah. Its typing is better, but just like the design of it, Scyther looked cooler to me.
Kind of like your opinion on Magmortimer.
Yeah. Magmar was one of my favorite Pokemon back in the day, and then it got an evolution, and I'm like, thanks. I hate it.
These Magpies are huge.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, Magmar was a literal butthead.
Mm.
It was made of fire.
Its head also looked like a butt.
Yeah, I mean,
Just like in Cool Runnings. Everybody's just turning and looking and going, what the hell are you talking about?
Okay, so let's see. Let's see. Miwako over here. Calls Ryoko Senpai. So does Tomi. And then we learned that Ryoko and Nenji seem to hang, or not Nenji, but Rinya seem to hang out a lot.
Star just made a raincoat comment.
Of course.
You all didn't hear it, but trust me.
I didn't hear it either, so.
Yeah,
Let's see. Nenji gets bugs give him the ick, apparently. Let's see. Shikishima. They made the kaiju, but I gotta find where I put that card. There they are. Technically Daimos. And let's see, Shikishima. We learned that Ninji's father was an executive of Shikishima. Ninji her voice was recognized as a board member. Let's see. That is the name for it. Let's see. That is part of the project. This is a machine that's in that part of the project. And it was designed and built there. Has its own little branch. Its own little branch right there. Okay, we move on to video 59. Event 167 on the timeline.
jumping way down.
Because we decided to move on to Ninji's story. So here we are back in 1985 at 4:50 p.m. at the Kazumi Station, line number 5 platform. I'm going to be saying this a lot in the future. You will understand why later. Tomi is talking to him, telling him he has a point and she should slow down and think for a little, and it makes him seem to snap out of some deep thoughts. She asks if he's even listening, and he looks around trying to figure out what just happened. He sees Tomi, says the station looks the same, that the train went off the rails, and Tomi remarks she didn't realize he could sleep standing up. He repeats that it's the same platform, and muses that they were in the train, but it got knocked off the rails, so how the hell are they there? There's no way they walked away from an accident like that. He asks Tomi if she was on the train, and she asks if he meant the train she's about to get on, and he doesn't understand. He tells her he needs her to understand, and she wonders why he's so serious suddenly. He says he was on the platform before, and she says it's because he uses to go to school every day. He tries to clarify that he means he was just there just now, and Tomi asks if he's just setting up for some type of joke. He says he got on the semi-express to go after her and asks her if she remembers being together the whole time. She misunderstands and says she thinks she would know if they were together in that way. He sighs, says he didn't mean that, and she notes he's being weirder than usual and asks if he's okay. He sighs, walks over to see Wajima's gang hanging out on the platform and says he should have figured they'd still be there. Wajima approaches and what he calls the most punchable face in the city, and Ninji tells him they need new material. Wajima wants to settle things, and Ninji said he already did, but it apparently didn't count. He asked what the beef was, and Wajima said he heard Ninji was talking shit about the Curry High gang only having strength in numbers, which Ninji says, well, it's news to him. Wajima says no more running, and Tomi runs over to stop Ninji from fighting. Ninji says he has no interest in fighting the same fight twice, and Wajima notices Tomi. He asks if that's Ninji's girl, and says he didn't know Ninji was into elementary schoolers. This provokes Ninji to beat them up, and Tomi gets angry just as her train arrives. He yells at her she can't get on because she's going to regret it, and she just calls him super weird. He tells her she can't get on, and she gets offended by him telling her what to do, and she says she's done with him, gets on the train, and he sighs, remarking that this is just like it was before, and he gets on the train. Fade to black. Fade back into event 168, where it is 5:12 p.m. on the Tsusuji-bound semi-express train car. He approaches Tomi, and she remarks that this isn't even his train. He muses that the train always derails, so once she gets on, she's always dead. He then tells her she's not listening to him, and he replies it's because he's not making sense, and asks if he just wanted the last word. Ninji realizes that this is exactly like before, where she got mad at him and he went after her. She asks when that was exactly. He says, well, can't do much now, and she just calls him a psycho. She doesn't know if he's just a delinquent, but she's never exactly liked thugs like him. An explosion happens, and Ninji recognizes this as having happened before as well. Unlike happy hamsters right about now. Kaiju then are seen in the background, and Tomi says that they're even... Kaiju are seen in the background, and Tomi says that they're even here too, but Chihiro didn't say anything about this. Ninji says this is what happened to the other train right before the Kaiju knocked the train off the rails, and it fades to black. We fade back into event 169, where the screen becomes what kinda sorta looks like a star field. Ninji's voice is heard asking about Kisaragi, and his face appears in a window much like during the combat scenes, and again, much like in the combat scenes, he's still naked. He wonders what the lights are and how he gets out of this thing. He remembers the train being derailed and then shouts for Tomi. A second scrambled window pops up and a distorted voice states, "Connection established," before asking if Ninji can hear it. The voice sounds fairly similar to Okino, but I can't confirm this yet. It asks Ninji where the key is, but Ninji does not understand what key it's looking for and continues to ask where Tomi is. The voice says it needs a decode key and continues to ask where it is. Ninji doesn't know and just continues to ask if the voice knows where Tomi is. The voice says it's sending him back, and he needs to find the decode key before the screen fades out. We fade back into a very short event in 170, where we see Ninji and Tomi back at the platform at 4:50 p.m., just like before, where Ninji realizes he's back, and the screen fades out to be continued. So one of these cards is not going to be the official term for it, because I don't know if there is an official term for it. But dear God, it's what I'm going to call it. It's not this one. though that's probably not the official name for it either.
Lost him on the radar, sir.
What?
I lost him on the radar, sir.
What?
Lost him on the radar, sir.
What?
So
we underwater again?
We've got the scrambled voice, we got the decode key, and we got the Groundhog Day train wreck. I mean, if you can think of a better name for it, be my guest.
Accurate.
There's another specific movie it's referencing, but I can't remember what it is offhand.
Yeah, same.
Let's see, the scrambled voice talks to the black hole down here and tells him to go find a key. Specifically looking for the decode key, which means that Ninji is kinda tasked with looking for it, but he doesn't know what the hell he's looking for. I don't know why he would know why he would know what that is. This does not seem like a thing he's going to know. So he experiences that and remembers it. But Tommy over here experiences the Groundhog Day train wreck and does not remember it.
I'm still waiting for I'm still curious of when the point will be that you actively set this thing on fire.
About the point in time I figure everything out. Yes, that is a joke, meaning probably never. But anyway. So now, we go to video 60. And we are now at event 98 on the timeline. It's a fairly nondescript area that we have seen before, but we don't really know much about it, other than I'm pretty sure this is one of the places Kaitaro kind of walked around a whole lot. We see Sentinel 19 teleport into existence with the city in the background. It fades to black for a moment, and BJ and Natsuno crawl out of an inspection hatch. Natsuno stretches and complains about the cramped area, then notices she's on top of the Sentinel, and it's a fair bit to the ground, wonders how to look down, and BJ essentially face palms and goes, "Climb down!" as he climbs down a ladder. The same ladder she used to climb up in the first place, mind you. And this does prompt Natsuno to climb down. She looks over the city from the rooftop and asks if they really made it back. BJ confirms that it is indeed 1985, and Natsuno expresses surprise that a robot like the Sentinel can time travel, and saying alien tech really doesn't disappoint. Thank you for being you, Natsuno. That's all I'm going to say. She asks BJ where Keitaro is, and BJ says he's already gone. She says it's not good he's already out in the city, as the Men in Black probably want to take him to Area 51. Or 52. Could be 52 these days.
They're taking him to Hoboken.
Yep. But BJ says they are in a more critical situation than Keitaro is. Natsuno notices the police are starting to gather to check out the disturbance and worries about being arrested, while BJ says they need to leave. Natsuno agrees and wonders what they're going to do about the Sentinel. BJ snaps her back to reality, and she tucks him in the bag and leaves to a fade out. We fade into an unknown event on the timeline, back into the interior of the girls' track and field room, in a fairly bad state of disarray. We don't know how much time has actually passed either. Natsuno walks in and calls out to the captain, asking what's going on. The captain says someone trashed the room again and to watch something. Natsuno grabs her bag and asks the captain what she wants to look at, and a short while later, BJ peeks out from the laundry basket. The captain asks if she saw it. Natsuno says it's bad, and the captain thinks she thinks it's a spy camera from a peeping Tom, probably the same creep that trashed the room and planted the camera to spy on him. Natsuno claims it belongs to her, and much to the captain's surprise, she says it's an alarm clock. Again, thank you for being you, Natsuno. As she tucks BJ back into her bag, the captain asks her if she just kind of carries it around like that. Natsuno says she can't tell time without looking at it, and the captain says it might be a little bit big. Wristwatches are a thing, after all. Natsuno then goes to leave, and the captain asks if she's really going to home dressed like that. Natsuno says she's in a hurry and leaves the room to a fade out. We fade into event 103 on the timeline. Outside, Natsuno spots a man in black. She tries to leave, but the man in black spots her and tells her he needs to check her bag. She flees to another fade out. Fade into the third floor of the high school, where Natsuno sees that the men in black are still after her. She manages to hide from the line of sight of the man in black that followed her into the hall, and continues down the hall to the nearby staircase. We fade into the stairs, where Natsuno sees a man in black waiting at the base, and then she runs back to the hallway. Natsuno spots the man in black from earlier there, but also runs into Ninji. He asks her what's up, and she says she's in a pickle. Ninji says he doesn't know what's going on, but wishes her luck, and he walks away. Thanks, Ninji. Real pal there. She hides in the classroom as the first man in black approaches, and Yuki shows up, asking what the man in black is doing there. The guy asks for Yuki's help as there's a suspicious individual that's concealing something in the area. Yuki realizes if she cooperates, maybe Tetsuya will let her have her way, so she agrees, as this is SIU business anyway. The man in black tells her all she needs to do is help locate, but leave the capture to the MIBs. Yuki and the MIB walk towards the staircase, with Yuki asking what she looks like. Natsuno pops out of the classroom and is in distress that Yuki is working with the men in black. To be continued. Again, communicate. This is one of those times that communication would have solved a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yep.
Just saying. Oh, let's see. Natsuno here. Okay, where did I put Sentinel 19? It shouldn't be too far. We're trying to read some of these things to determine exactly which card is Sentinel 19. Nope, that's not 19.
we no longer know. There are no Sentinels, there are only strings.
There are only hamsters.
It's clearly over there.
But it's not here.
No, it's there.
Nope, not here either.
Try there.
Nope.
Over there?
Maybe.
How about right here?
You see, the thing is, I'm moving my mouse all over the place, and it looks like you're... I mean, nobody else can see that because the way OBS does not capture mouse movement. I've probably looked at it 3 times. There it is.
There we go. It was right there 10 seconds ago.
Yep. So let's see. Natsuno managed to stow away in that thing. And so did BJ. Let's see, and then the Trek team captain here actually managed to spot BJ. Called it a goddamn alarm clock, but hey, there we go. Let's see. I gotta find the Men in Black card. Not to be confused with another card from a very popular card game. And yes, I said that even though this isn't ring code.
But is there a goat?
There is a broken sword. Best moment of that damn game.
Behold, there is a goat right over there. It is fuzzy, and it is going by.
So now we're up to video 61. A string of unknown events in this video. Yuki begins her next chapter on the familiar rooftop in 1985, drinking the hayseed juice. She knows Natsuno was involved in the bathroom incident somehow, but needs to find out more clues. Erika shows up again after searching for Yuki. Yuki wants to investigate the bathroom some more, but Erika says they've already started renovating the place. Yuki snaps out that it was too fast, and Erika asks if Yuki was upset with her, but no, this is still just cigarette withdrawal. Erika says that Natsuno's been missing for several days, but isn't sick despite what her teacher says, so something sinister's going on. Erika makes the Holmes-Watson connection again and says she assists Yuki in the investigation. Shu's test, still on the ground, crumpled up, and the two exit the roof to a fade-out. They fade back into the Class 1 hallway and approach Megami and asks if she has a minute, but she doesn't have anything to say at this point. They then approach Iori and Tomi and ask Iori if there's been any news about Natsuno. Iori shakes her head, and Tomi has a moment where she realizes that Yuki is a Sukeban girl! I think I note this every time it happens, just because it was funny. Yuki consults a notebook from Natsuno's diary and asks Erika where Tokisaka's shrine is. Erika can take her there, so Yuki says she'll get her stuff and meet Erika at the front gate. They head off to a fade-out. They fade in at the gate, and Yuki sees Ryoko and approaches. Ryoko says she wasn't supposed to make contact, but Yuki needs to ask about something. Yuki says she heard Natsuno was being pursued by the Men in Black, so if that's true, Ryoko has some explaining to do. Ryoko says Natsuno was part of her investigation, but they definitely didn't kidnap her. Yuki says she's giving her word, and Ryoko tells her to get back to her assignment. Yuki goes to walk off, but Ryoko asks her to wait because she remembers Yuki saying she hid something for her. Yuki remarks that Ryoko doesn't remember, but she asked Yuki to hide a box of some type in an old school building passageway. Ryoko asks what happened there, and Yuki says she saw Ryoko watching some type of projection and crying while she watched, along with mentioning Tetsuya. Ryoko grasps her head and grimaces at the suddenness of something, talks about her pills, and runs back into the school grounds. Erika shows up and apologizes for the wait. She muses that Ryoko forgot what happened in the passageway, but Ryuki remembers that it was soon after she transferred in, she saw Ryoko near the old building and goes into a flashback about the incident to a fade-out. So here's our crossover with Raincode. The projector.
Lab.
Let's see, Yuki Kid said projector. And Ryoko watched it. Okay. On to video 62, we actually get a numbered event for once in this whole chapter. Event 130. Fade into Yuki arriving in the old school passageway. She remarks how fewer people there are and that the old building will be demolished soon, which is a shame because it was quiet and a pretty good place to hang out. She wonders if she'd taken her studies seriously if she'd have gotten into Sakura High the normal way. Yuki turns to see Ryoko with a BJ unit of some sort. Ryoko says her ID is now registered, and she shuts off the unit's AI function as it tells her she needs to return immediately, and the BJ unit closes up. She tells it to search for information on her and Mr. Ida somewhere in its memory, and it displays a log from 2188 of Ryoko from the future. Future Ryoko says it was a lie, Tetsuya's love was all empty words, and that he was using her right from the start. She proclaims herself a fool and that they are all that remains of humanity, but humanity is still just hate-filled deceivers. Teenage Ryoko watching this can't believe what she sees, and future Ryoko says humanity was always fated for ruin, so Project Ark was a mistake. She then says she can't stop it, but she will derail it. She linked in parts of the terraforming project, which will then purge humans from all sectors. If it all goes according to plan, the final phase will reset, which will make all sectors fall into a never-ending loop, which will leave a peaceful world free from humans. Teen Ryoko still can't believe what she's seeing. Future Ryoko says that the place will be destroyed as well, and that the human race has reached its end, as they have no need for a future. The log ends, the BJ unit closes, and Yuki asks, "What in the hell?" Yuki approaches Ryoko, who is on her knees, holding her head and sobbing, all while saying it can't be. Yuki recognizes her as she continues to talk about the impossibility of it all, and Yuki tries to ask if she's okay, but Ryoko continues to try to make sense out of what she just saw, refusing to accept it as she still didn't believe Tetsuya would deceive her. Yuki tells her to take a deep breath and helps her stand up. She tries to ask more questions, but Ryoko is too lost in her own head to answer anything, and throws her pills on the ground, proclaiming they're useless if that's the future they're headed for. Yuki picks them up and tries to hand them back, and Ryoko just runs away. Turns away. Hasn't run away yet, just turned away. Ryoko asks why Yuki's trying to help, and she replies that Ryoko's her senpai in the SIU. Yuki looks at the closed unit, marks it as crazy, and asks if it's some new type of projector. She walks over to the unit, wanting to see the video again, but doesn't know how to work it. Ryoko falls to her knees, asks Yuki to get it out of there, and not to tell Tetsuya or anyone else. We have a fade out. We fade into event 131, to the nurse's office, where Yuki stands over Ryoko, who is laying down in bed. Yuki says she can't believe Ryoko collapsed, and Ryoko popped out of bed and stands. Yuki asks if she's okay to get up and offers her the pills back. Ryoko takes a bottle and immediately downs some pills. Yuki then says Chihiro made her take some pills as soon as she carried her into the office too, and wonders if it's okay to take so much of it. Ryoko asks why Yuki had her medicine. Yuki reminds her that she threw the bottle, but she remembers absolutely nothing. Yuki tries asking about the BJ unit and if it was okay, but Ryoko doesn't remember that either. Yuki asks if she's playing games since she was talking about Tetsuya and crying, and Ryoko is surprised, telling Yuki not to lie to her. Yuki wonders what's going on with her, then asks about the bandages, and Ryoko responds by popping some more pills, saying she can't think straight unless she starts to take them, and then takes a few more. Yuki says,
I smoke 2 joints in the morning. I smoke 2 joints at night.
Something like that, yeah. Yuki says the pills kind of look like bad news. Chihiro walks in and asks how Ryoko is doing. Ryoko replies she's fine and asks Yuki to stay out of it. Chihiro asks if something is wrong, and Yuki replies no. Chihiro says Yuki doesn't look well and some medicine might make her feel better. Yuki spins to face her and then just runs out of the office. To be continued. Let's see. first. We will actually update that with the fact that it is a BJ unit, just for ease of. Let's see. And then let's see here. Update that to actually say teen. Let's see. Now for new cards. We have Ryoko Shinonome in the future. And yes, I know, shush. We have Tetsuya Ida in the future. These are confirmed to exist now. Project Arc. Second stage. And we have a side effect of amnesia. Fun times all around here. So let's see. Because some of these got added to the pile late, I've got to go in and backfill a few strings on them. That if I'd thought about it earlier, I would have, you know, would have dealt with it. But I did not. Let's see. So let's see. Normally update. I would have updated that projector string. With Ryoko there, but nope, don't need to do that. Let's see. These two were connected because Ryoko thought Tetsuya loved her, and in response, he betrayed her. Project Arc will have a second stage at some point here.
Tetsuya Ida, clearly a great human being.
Ryoko said she could not stop, but she could derail Project Arc. And let's see. Let's see if I can find that list of the pills. I would say, yes, there's this list of pills that should be next to A. Sekigahara, but good luck finding him, too. there's a part of me that wants to go in here and reorganize this, and there's another part of me that goes, are you stupid?
Oh, don't worry. Things will happen where you will have to reorganize things, and they will make you very angry.
There's the pills that she's taking.
Pills here.
Let's see. That, yeah. 7. Project Arc. Now gets to be connected to that because that was another name for Project Arc. Ryoko. Ryoko. Decided to use that to try to kill off humanity forever and ever. And the pills. Were being prescribed by Chihiro Morimura there. One of...
Wait a minute, she's a nurse. She can't prescribe pills.
Yeah, you know. And let's see, Juro.
Unless she's a nurse practitioner.
Hmm?
And as the game decides, as the game is displaying it, these pills have a side effect of amnesia as the game is displaying it. Again, shush, we will get there when we get there. So now we move on. I accidentally scrolled down on that page and did not want to. Video 63. We decided that Ryoko was a good starting point for this one. And we start with event 26 on the timeline, which leads us to 2064. It's lunchtime, and the adult version of Tetsuya stands on a walkway in the schoolyard. Ryoko, looking much healthier than we've ever seen her before, approaches and greets him, which he returns.
Admittedly, that's a very low bar.
I mean, yeah, she's not wrapped up in bandages, that's what I'm trying to say. She has a question about what they talked about that day and is hoping he can answer. He reproaches her and reminds her that she's supposed to avoid contact with him while at school, but he'll make this one exception. She then asks about his feelings because he said she was special. He repeats that she is, and she says that he felt that he would also be special the moment he arrived, and that something might happen between the two of them. She muses that he's a substitute filling in for a teacher on maternity leave, but he's mysterious and has secrets. She then tells him she's never felt this way before, and thinking about him makes her... And she just kind of trails off before she can finish that thought. He replies she knows his position, that while she is important to him and everyone else, and the rest of the ones chosen as pilots' well-being is of the utmost importance of the mission, asks if she understands what he's saying, and asks her not to cause trouble for him. He then goes on to call her exceptional, with intelligence and adaptability above average and a more than sufficient piloting technique. With her on their side, they stand a chance as long as she is committed to the cause. To achieve victory, one must prepare with a full heart and great tenacity. She muses that the internet has been abuzz with talk about how a mysterious robot held back a swarm of invaders at the shore, and asks him if he only wants to put her inside of a robot. He replies that the world will be destroyed if they don't defend against the attacks on the city, and that they were successful in defending once by keeping them out of the heart of the city and minimizing the damage. But that was just the beginning of the invasion, and that was nothing compared to what's coming. Sekigahara runs in from off-screen and asks what's going on. Ryoko calls out, and he approaches Tetsuya angrily, saying that Tetsuya was the one that said to say no contact, so why is he talking to Ryoko? Tetsuya just kind of sighs, and Ryoko tells Sekigahara to stop as she called for the meeting. Tetsuya says that while true, they are drawing attention to themselves and he's leaving. As he goes, Ryoko tells him that she will fight if that's what he wants. He asks if she's certain, and she says yes, so Tetsuya says they will meet after school to discuss details. Sekigahara then says he will also fight, and he will go with Ryoko-senpai. Tetsuya says that is excellent news, and he will see him after school as well. Tetsuya leaves, and Sekigahara asks Ryoko if she's sure, and she is. She walks off screen to a fade out. We fade back in to event 27 and a cat attacking my arm. We are now on the rooftop we've seen earlier in the center of the city as a defensive battle in the middle of a full-scale invasion happens. We are still 2064. We see Rinya, Katsu Chihiro, and adult Tetsuya poking away at some holographic control panels. Tetsuya starts to call out commands like Area B2, Matsuyuki Choke secured. Rinya calls out that Area D7 has 27th reigning in the 7th wave. Chihiro calls out number 14 has secured a path, just a little more, and tells the pilot not to stop as she's almost there. Rinya says 14 has taken damage, and Tetsuya calls for her to pull back. Ryoko calls out over comms that she can still do this. Chihiro calls for number 17 to assist number 14, but doesn't get a response. Several of the pilot panels in the display go red, and Rinya says he can't get a response from Sekigahara either. Tetsuya says the system is being attacked. Chihiro asks from where, and Rinya says through the laser link originating from number 15. Chihiro, surprised after the asks that Sekigahara, and Rinya says Sekigahara is transmitting it to every Sentinel. Jiro Izumi, in number 13, asks what's happening over comms as their defenses are down, and Rinya calls for him to fall back. I split the video here because time constraints. So let's see. We now have Sentinel infection. And the event I shorthanded as the 2064 invasion. I've given this thing many names, but who knows. Let's see here. And then let's see. Oh, come on, I wouldn't have put Sentinel 15 that far away. I think, yeah, this is Sentinel 15. Let's see, Sentinel 15 was the one that spread the infection.
So this is a chart designed to keep things organized, right?
Yes.
Organized.
Organized. It's
Organized.
perfectly organized. It's all perfectly organized. It just takes me a minute to find things. So let's see. During this, Rinya was a strategist. Let's see. Adult Tetsuya was also apparently a strategist. They were up there banging away on consoles. I don't know what else to call them.
I'm mature.
I mean, one of them I've got many names for, but still. I'm gonna move this over here. Let's see. Chihiro in a cat suit was right there. And then confirmed pilots. Let's see. It isn't even the fact that it's disorganized, it's just the fact that there's so much going on, it can be hard to actually see things. So even if I'm looking in the right spot, I may not know it. Shush, that makes sense to me. You fought in it. Come on, I just found you a little bit ago. Where are you, Sekigahara? To be fair, a lot of characters ask that throughout the course of the game. There you are. And Sekigahara also was a pilot in that invasion force. So video 64 kicks off with me, with something clicking into place for me and me screaming out, "Tetsuya, you bastard."
Spoilers! This is probably not the only time he's going to say that.
Yeah, but I mean, this video is going up after that video went live, so you know. I'm going to just say, yes, this is the one I started out with saying, "Tetsuya, you bastard!" Because things clicked into place for me. So we're still in the middle of the disaster that was the 2064 battle. Rinya kind of says her position is critical, and Ryoko asks what's going on over comms as her head is starting to throb. Rinya says both Sentinels are showing abnormalities. Juro says he can't move, and then his comm line goes out. Rinya adds he can't shut down the link and they're going to lose all units. Tetsuya says they're going to be wiped out, and Chihiro orders the use of the force transmit code on all units. Rinya says they don't have time to adjust the settings, and Chihiro says to do it as is. Tetsuya says that's going to shut down the link, but they'll have no idea where anyone goes, to which she replies that the pilots' lives are the priority. Rinya says that numbers 16 and 13 have begun transmitting, numbers 12 and 19 transmitted, and adds that number 14 has completed transmission, but no response from any of the others. Chihiro wonders how this happened, and Rinya remarks that the kaiju were almost there, so they need to go and can figure out the reason afterward. Tetsuya says he's accessed the autonomous number 8, and he can buy time with that while the other two head for the gate. I forgot that point, and that just added another check mark for me. Considering something that happens in the future.
The future or the past?
From here, it would be the future. Yes, we have to clarify this. It's important. So Rinya says they need to go. He and Chihiro leave, and they fade to black. We fade back into Event 62. In the aftermath of the ruined city in 2025, Ryoko is kneeling down near a prone ninja, Tomi, and Miwako. She says, all these kids because of him. Then she says that Tetsuya stayed on the battlefield until the end so they could escape. She looks around and remarks that a nearby bombed-out building must be his hideout, calling him 426 and a dangerous criminal, and she'd be foolish to go in unarmed, and that he was called Prisoner 426 in the future while in prison, and now he's traveling through time to try to thwart their work. She recalls Tetsuya's words of, to achieve victory, one must prepare with great tenacity, before finding and grabbing a phaser off the street. She enters the building and Sekigahara faces off with her. She tells him he's cornered and calls him 426. She says it's time to pay for what he did, so she's taking him in. He asks what happens if he doesn't come willingly, and she says to feel free to resist and give her an excuse to put a bullet in his head. He asks who told her he was 426, and she says she saw the access logs, and the program that infected the Sentinels was created with 426's ID. He replies that someone left some foolish evidence behind. She says she doesn't care what he's trying to do now, but she can't forgive what he did to Tetsuya. He responds with surprise that she's still going on about him. She points a phaser at him and says she's done talking. He turns to face her and laughs and tells her just to go ahead and shoot. She tries, but can't, as the trigger locks when aimed at the registered user, which he explains to her. She throws down the gun in frustration and says she's going to take him on herself. He takes a look at her and remarks about the injuries she sustained, and holds up her empty medicine bottle and says the pills are going to wear off soon. She begins to suffer a headache, and he says he tried, but he's sorry he couldn't save her. She collapses to her knees in pain, and we have a fade to black, and a to be continued. Safety trigger locks. Even future guns have safety trigger locks.
As they should.
I mean, have you seen what they can do? And they kind of need it.
The Desplanchinator.
You know, if we ever play another Esper Genesis game, and you get a chance to make a custom weapon for it.
Behold, I have the Desplanchinator.
I'm just saying that would be a great name for a homebrewed, high technical, magical, whatever you want to call it, item.
The weapon is basically a vacuum cleaner, only more so.
So you're the opposite of Dig Dug.
Dig Dug.
Okay, let's see. We got a lot more strings that are going on to this. Unfortunately, a lot of the reasons I want to put the strings on here, I would need to... I actually need the notes to actually make any sense out of, but... yeah, can't have everything. Let's see, Sentinel 16 managed to force transmit away. Sentinel 13 managed to force transmit away. Sentinel 13 really does not have a lot of strings attached to it, which is kind of surprising.
I mean, that one... like, a couple of the Sentinels are hugely plot MacGuffins. Sentinel 13, not so much.
Yeah.
It's attached to one horribly unlucky dude.
Sentinel 12. And Sentinel 12. Managed to get out of there. And where'd 19 go? It's around here somewhere. Because 19 was specifically mentioned in all that mess too. This is just going to be a big ball of black by the end of it. I know this. We all know this.
I'm still imagining there's going to be a point where there's a reveal, possibly the dot over the eye reveal, and you're just going to be like, crumple, 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 toss.
On that day, huh?
And in this case, it would probably be delete, delete, delete.
On that day, it's like... We can hit the right button. On that day, that will happen.
Yeah, there have been a couple of very specific reveals that I'm surprised we haven't gotten to yet. I'm like, surely they must have come up by now. Nope.
So I'm wondering if they come up later. I mean, in the stuff we've already covered. So 14. Or you actually managed to get out of there. So 15. Gotta keep my eye on where that one is. Did not manage to force transmit away from, according to the radio chatter there. Wasn't mentioned at all, sadly. $17. Come on, I just used you a little bit ago here. That's in 20. 22. As in, they were not existing as of this time. Only 17 did not make it out of there. Let's see, you. Managed to control autonomous number 8 from the rooftop. We have a Sekigahara. All the way over here is accused of being 426. And 426 wrote the program. That infected the Sentinels. And because of safety trigger locks.
Bless you.
The phaser cannot shoot the registered user.
Star is allergic to phaser.
Apparently.
I mean, I think most people are allergic to phaser. At least when it's at least the business end of it. I mean, I would be. Okay, event 60. We're up to video 65 now. What were you about to say?
I now see 2 Imperial Star Destroyers.
Are they about to collide in each other?
They are flying next to each other.
I was gonna say, are they making more of them?
Oh god, the Empire discovered RPF technology.
Quick, get the kids! There's skunks! Oh wait, no, never mind. The skunks are making more skunks. Send the kids back!
Just...
Why would you want to bring your kids near skunks?
They were... To be fair, they were the skunks were down a floor from us.
Yeah, they were on a balcony.
Yeah, we were on a second floor, a couple of second floor balconies.
Can I have my hand back, Cat?
Nope.
Not until you appoint an admiral of this fleet.
Is Thrawn available?
No, Thrawn is on vacation.
Damn it. I guess we'll go with Jerry.
Admiral Jerry.
Why does he have a big target on his shirt? That's red.
Never mind that. That's the new hottest design fashion there. That's
the rank insignia.
Yeah.
For Admiral.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so video 65 starts. We're back in Yuki's world here. We're back on the rooftop. Same drink in hand. Same crumple test on the ground. Yuki still knows not to knows involved with the bathroom, but she needs more clues. Erica shows up. Blah, blah, blah. Cigarettes make her angry, and they leave the rooftop. They go to the hallway, then they go to the front gate. Yuki looks around and sees Wajima and his group. She tells them to get out of her way, and they ask her if she's trying to give orders. She tells them she doesn't have time for them when Erica runs up. Yuki tells her she has really bad timing, and Erica asks if the gang are Yuki's friends. Wajima replies that, yeah, they're friends, and if she's friends with Yuki, that means she has to be friends with them, too. Yuki tells him to back off. He grabs her shirt. She swings her bag to knock his hand off, and a fight breaks out. The fight ends kind of predictably with Yuki just kind of standing in the middle of the beaten gang as a police car arrives by, lights flashing, and a couple officers run to the group and hauls everyone off. We fade back in to event 137 to Yuki standing in an office in the Kamazumi Police Station Juvenile Division. Yuki assumes a school called the cops and approaches the lone cop in the room and asks if she can leave, and he says no. She muses Tetsuya is not going to be happy and it won't help if she gets suspended. She attempts to leave under the guise of finding the bathroom, but the cop stops her. A few moments later, an older man in a trench coat shows up and says he'll take it from there, and the cop leaves. Yuki calls him Onishi the Ogre, and he says it's good to see she hasn't changed. She asks what happened to Wajima's lackeys, and he says most of them got away, with the 2 caught only having minor injuries. He says he was worried about her because they took her away and he didn't even know where she'd been transferred to. He asks what happens and then asks if she's working with the SIU. She says she can't talk about it. He tells her there was an incident 6 months ago involving heavy machinery transport. It was reported as an accident, and the middle of it was Ryoko. Onishi took her into custody, but the SIU took her back by force, just like with Yuki previously. He said her statement was that both she and the weapon came from the future to fight kaiju. She asks if he believes it, and he says that he saw another similar incident before they covered it up with the tarp, and whatever it is, it was no normal piece of construction equipment. He knows that something is going on in town, but not what, and asks her to tell him what she knows. She thinks about the notebook she's carrying and decides she can trust him, so she tells him about how Natsuno is missing and asks if the police are looking for her. He doesn't recognize the name, and she clarifies that Natsuno's a first year at Sakura High with the SIU looking for her. She asks him to let her know if he hears anything, and he says he will. She asks what he already knows about the SIU, and he says the higher-ups have an understanding, but the rank and file are left in the dark. As far as he knows, they're investigating Shikishima. Yuki tells him that SIU thinks Shikishima is making nuclear weapons and has miners involved, so they brought her in to watch them. He questions that she brought up miners, and he adds that Ryoko is also at Sakura High. He hands her a folder which is a request to limit traffic while transporting heavy machinery, and the machine Ryoko arrived in is headed to Shikishima's new shipbuilding deck. She thinks if she can get there, she can finally figure out what the machines are and what happened to Natsuno. We fade out. We fade back into the interior of the train to Southport. Yuki summarizes that she got on the train to follow the lead from Onishi to the dock to find the machine, and answers. It currently sits on a landfill near the port where there's nothing but storage, so she'll take the train as far as it goes and then wait at the facility till dark to sneak in. She sees Ninji, asks what he's doing, and he replies that he's just going home. She asks if he lives near Natsuno, but he says he moved in with his grandpa since then. He asks where she's going, and she says to see the ocean, and he asks if she's alright. He then asks about her minion and if she decided not to follow Yuki around today. She asks if he means Erika Aiba. Ninji is kind of shocked to hear that name and asks Yuki asks if he's in Class D, which is supposed to be Erika's class. Ninji is confused and says that isn't Erika because Erika's been absent for a while. The loudspeaker announces the next stop of Ikebe. Then Ninji says this is his stop and gets off the train. Yuki wonders who the hell Erika following her around is and just who she can believe, concluding she can only believe what she sees, and the first stop is to see whatever Shikishima's hiding. We fade to black. We fade back into Event 139. Yuki walks into Shikishima's Sentinel hangar, musing about how crap security is. Sneaking in was almost too easy, but it's so dark it's hard to see. She walks down a catwalk and her collarbone starts glowing a light blue color. Ryoko approaches from the other side of the catwalk and says, "That explains it," and Yuki recognizes the voice. Yuki asks about what she's doing there, and Ryoko says that she should be the one asking Yuki that, as Ryoko's calf also starts glowing light blue. Yuki notices this and asks what's going on. Ryoko says their bodies are responding because they are pilots. Ryoko turns on the lights to reveal the Sentinel and says they're both being called by Sentinel 14. Yuki turns to look and can't believe what she sees, asking if that's what was being moved through the streets. Rinya walks up and tells her it's a weapon needed for the upcoming battle, and Yuki is one of the people that can pilot it. Yuki remembers him from the list Tetsuya had. Ryoko angrily approaches and asks what he means by one of, as that's her Sentinel. Yuki approaches Ryoko, and Ryoko responds by pulling out a phaser and telling her to stay back. Yuki asks if this is the alien fighting weapon Natsuno is looking for, and Ryoko scoffs, asking if Natsuno was planning to fight little green spacemen. Yuki asks what they're really trying to do, and Ryoko says that they're saving the world from the kaiju. Yuki tries to get past Rinya, but he blocks her and tells her they aren't done talking. She asks if she was ambushed, and he replies she could call it that. She asks him if this is what Shikishima made, and he says no, that he and his group made it. She asks who Rinya and company are, and he replies that this world is nothing but the past. Yuki asks if he's serious about time travel, and he says very, as the Sentinels themselves are weapons from the future. She tries to run past again, but is blocked, and Rinya says she's too involved to leave now. She tries to protest that she has nothing to do with it, but he says her glowing skin suggests otherwise. Nurse Chihiro walks up, and Rinya asks what she found. She says new code has been added several times, and Rinya asks how many times he came into contact with her. Chihiro says they must be close, and she'd like to research Yuki a bit more. Yuki recognizes Chihiro from the nurse's office, and just as Yuki is about to protest, Ryoko shoots her from behind. Fade out, to be continued.
Damn it, Ryoko.
And a side note, something I noticed. We got an event in the event archive, 134, and it was an event that we didn't actually see in the game. But they decided to give it to us because it was Yuki and Erika exploring Tokasaka Shrine to find absolutely nothing.
Have we hit critical sticky note mass yet? Are they collapsing in on themselves to create an inescapable sticky note gravitational pull?
We're trying, aren't we? More importantly, have we hit critical string mass yet? Feel free to form whatever theories you can about our string mass.
There are many theories about our strings.
Does any of them involve Schrodinger's cat?
Funny thing about that video is, like, I was carpooling in that day with one of that job's administrators, and we had been discussing the because it was basically a contest wheel thing, and like I had seen that was a possible option, and we joked about, like, wouldn't it be hilarious if I'm the one who spins that one up? Go in, clock in, spin the wheel. Hey, Tammy, you're not gonna believe this! Oh, holy shit, you got that one? I got that one! This is great!
Define great!
I came in second in that contest.
Yep.
It was funny because we realized that the first prize was like a paid day off, and the admin and I were both like, "Oh, it's a good thing. It's a good thing you didn't win, because there's no way you'd be able to use that." That's messed up, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
Let's
But
see.
you're good with it anymore, so
No, I like my current job much better.
yes. Even when stressful days happen.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So, Detective Onishi is nicknamed the Ogre. He has apparently some type of long-term working relationship with the Yuki there.
I think the long-term working relationship is he has brought her in for her multiple crimes and delinquency.
And Onishi also questioned Ryoko about the heavy machinery incident. Let's see. Amazingly enough, I can still tell what that is. The Sentinels in general were being called heavy machinery, just for cover-up's sake. These are going to Shikishima, so let's see. They're covering up for Sentinel 14. They are also covering up for Sentinel 19. See, there's been a part of me several times that thinks I need to color different. I need to use more colors in the notepads, but then I would forget what color was what, and it would help me out a bit.
We have the most important things distinctly colored.
Yep.
Yes, we do.
The yakisoba pan and the hamburger, and the meatballs, I guess.
Eh. Let's see. Let's see. I have the other Erica Iva card somewhere in here. I would say if you see it, call it out, but how would you point to me where it is?
It's right there.
Not there, there!
Maybe it's over there.
There's definitely a part of me that wants to come in here and reorganize the numbers to be in order and see exactly what that looks like. Because that would not take very long, really. Not considering the grand scheme of things here. Well, it's card 135, Erica Iva. I mean, I thought I put it like right down here near where I got Yuki. Yeah, I put it way up there, huh? You can sit up there. Okay. Let's see. Class 1D. Is the real Erica Iva in it? Shinji is in class 1D. Of course, I grabbed the wrong part of the dot and actually grabbed the entire string, which does not help. Let's see. And then Sentinel 14. It called out to both Ryoko and Yuki. No, I don't know why either. I don't know if it actually says why that happens yet. Even at the point we're at in the action, you know, as far as full recording goes, I don't even know if it's gone into there yet. So anyway, we are up to video 66. We finally decided to go look at Rinya's story.
Because it finally unlocked.
Yeah, it finally unlocked. And just a spoiler, as soon as we get through this one chapter, he locks off for almost the rest of the goddamn game. He's going to be stuck at 12% for a very long time after this. So Rinya's story begins a few weeks before the final battle in 1985 in the Sakura High Science Room. He stands there surrounded by holographic monitors. Nurse Chihiro walks in the room and asks him what he thinks he's doing, as she told him using the gate is prohibited. He shuts down the array of holographic monitors and asks her if history is one of her better subjects. He has theories and wants to know if they're accurate, such as the true location of the lost nation of Yamataikoku and the truth behind the Hanonji incident, which is how Oda Nobunaga really died. He laments that his paper was bound to the failures of the historians, and he could update it into a full report, but the gates are locked to specific points in time. She asks what he's working towards, and he replies he wants to know the truth. She asks if he's alright, as this isn't really like him, and he replies that she's implying she actually knows him or even thinks she knows him. She tells him that's not the point and he needs to stop using the gate, and she's going to seal the place off. He chuckles and says it sounds like she's got something to hide. She begins a protest, but he tells her to wait as he pulls out a small notebook, noting that it may seem archaic but has advantages. Digitized data can be changed maliciously and shouldn't be trusted by intelligent people, but she should know that, shouldn't she? She gasps at the accusation. She then tells him he's acting strange, and he says she isn't in position to talk, because if anyone's changed, it's her, and he can only wonder why. She starts to protest, and he asks her exactly who she is. That scene fades to black. We fade into event 24. Back to one of Rinya's first meeting with Chihiro in the Shikishima Tech Lab, number 6. He stands next to adult Tetsuya Ida and Katsu Chihiro, and Tsukasa Okino. Okay, he stands next to Tetsuya Ida, and Katsu Chihiro and Tsukasa Okino walk into the room. Tetsuya asks the pair if the scout had anything for them. Okino replies that the surface is a total loss with the factories running at full capacity, and Chihiro adds that they're mass-producing kaiju. Okino asks Rinya if he's getting used to everything, and he replies that the technology isn't that different from 40 years ago, but it was surprising that it was all still a unified system. Okino says Rinya doesn't seem like someone from his time. Rinya asks Chihiro how things are looking, and she says it's about what they expected, and all the nuclear plants are stable, the same as in the other countries. Tetsuya calls this defensive measures and that they want to make sure nothing interrupts production. Rinya asks that the factories are large, and Okino says it concerns they got automated in 2080, and that they worked as a network instead of individual units. Tetsuya adds the network is 1.2 billion factories, all fully synchronized and integrated.
That's a shitload of factories.
That is a shitload of factories. A client's request leads to a computer designing a blueprint, and from there, everything is automated from assembly to production to cost-effective part ordering, and humans were no longer necessary for those processes. Okino notes that it's a manufactory, and I still hate that goddamn word, that can mass-produce anything on a global scale. It is a real word, I just hate it. Rinya muses that the sole output of the automated factories are the D-forces. Chihiro says they checked in on the Kolkata and Chennai plants, with Okino adding that they're the largest plants of the era, and she says their production has doubled. Tetsuya notes that it is just like last time, with the timing even matching up. Chihiro says they're going to make their move soon. Rinya asks Chihiro if she's certain that his time will face a similar attack, and she replies that we know we don't have long till they appear in 2064, and it will be just like last time. Tetsuya says it won't quite be the same as they have the Sentinels now. Chihiro asks if Rinya and Tetsuya have anything on their end, and Tetsuya says they managed a partial data dump from the underground mainframe, and Rinya clarifies it's an archived news report about a certain scandal near 2188, and remarks about it being further in the future than their current temporal position of 2104. Chihiro asks for a playback, and Rinya does so. Holographic streams pop up, and a talking head says that before dawn on the 20th, 8 Newman Inc. execs were taken into police custody. Charges of human trafficking and illegal cloning were brought. Their motive was to tamper with human memories, and authorities considered it an organized effort as they're looking into further charges. The talking head notes that mind-hacking crimes have been on the rise lately. Exploiting nanomachines like interlocers allows people to overwrite stored memory information in cerebral synapses, which has been done recently to enable other associated crimes. The arrest of the Newman Inc. execs came after a string of similar cases, including illegally downloading memories into another body, with evidence suggesting this is an attempt at some type of technological reincarnation, with more than 460 arrests connected to it. The playback ends, and Okino says he didn't know downloading memories was even possible, and Rinya says the crime apparently happened in June 2188. Rinya goes on to say he found another log that could be relevant, dated in March of that year, or about 3 months prior to the previous log. He begins playback, and at the same talking head is back saying Newman Inc. has been acquired by Shikishima via takeover. Shikishima's CEO is shown in a window talking about how nanotech has grown significantly in the 22nd century, and the human body can operate with supercomputer level power. He continues to say interlocers have paved the way for humanity's next step in evolution. All that can take is a thought to put the world at your fingertips. With Newman driving the nanotech business, there's a brighter future for Shikishima and everyone else. The CEO's window drops, and the talking head says Shikishima now sits in the top 3 for interlocutor market share. The log ends, and Okino asks if by interlocutors they mean the nanomachines in their own body. Rinya replies that that is likely. Chihiro remarks, "Get back there." Chihiro remarks that Shikishima is at the heart of this too, and this means they weren't wrong, as everything began in the future. She ponders about 2188, since 2104 is the furthest point they can shift to in the future, so they can't verify the lead now and should probably drop it to focus on protecting 2064 instead. Tetsuya says maybe, and they are almost out of time, so they need to move quickly, so it's best to return to the school in 2064 as they need the cooperation of the other 2 compatibles. Okino asks Rinya to join him later to put the Sentinels through combat simulation. The scene and the video end. Full automation integration there.
Manufactory.
Hate that word. Hate the word. We can actually put Sector 1 on the field now, as it was mentioned. Total loss going on here.
Total loss.
Total loss.
The entirety. All 4 panels.
All 4 panels, you say?
Of loss.
I think we just need to move past and heal. Which the hamsters will not get to do anytime soon. If you listen closely, you can hear their cries of torment.
Hamsters scream for vengeance.
Let's see. Here. Okay, Rinya. There you are, Sector 2. I keep thinking I put you down at the bottom. But Rinya comes from Sector 2 originally. Factory was up to 1.2 billion of those by 2080. I consider it a shame that I do not get to do labels on these strings, because Manufactory is a name Okino gave him, and I said, to quote, "Shame Okino for this nickname. Shame him."
Shame.
See, they've noted that Sector 1 was a total loss. Or so Okino said anyway. Let's see. You have 1. Your sole output was the Deimos. Newman Inc. Responsible for the interlocutors. I have a note here, but I have no idea why I made that note.
Sounds like one of my notes.
Eh. Let's see, we know the interlocutors can enable the personality and memory replacements there. At least the way they're mentioning it. Shima over here. Acquired. Newman Inc. I've got a note here and I have no idea why. I'm not going to say what it is because it makes absolutely no sense. For some reason I've got a character listed doing something that didn't even come up in here at all. I'm going to do a quick search here just in case I'm completely lost. Yeah, no, there's absolutely nothing there about that. Okay. I'm going to ignore that because I have no idea why I put it in there. Eh. So anyway, now we're on to the final video of the section. 2 hours later. And we fade into Event 101. We see Renya walking along the ruined streets of 2025 a few weeks before the final battle with a young Chihiro in tow. He apologizes to her as making arrangements in 1985 proved difficult, so they've been stuck in 2025 the past few days. She says there's not much that can be done in an emergency. She does ask if it was necessary to dress her up as the small child she is, and he replies it was the most inconspicuous choice for her apparent age. He asks if she's having trouble walking, and he calls her Miss Morimura, and she replies he should probably call her Chihiro, or that will seem even more suspicious than the dress. He nods and says, okay, Chihiro-san, and she tells him to drop the san too. She's surprised he was able to find her at all, and he replies that a data log helped, and he found records to indicate her mind had been transferred into the child body she sees in front of him. She sees that the body she's in is just a juvenile clone of her, and that she failed in an experiment to restore her compatibility, so she sealed the memories. Renya asks if the compatibility she means is the ability to control the gate and the Sentinels, and she replies the compatibility is needed to control the mainframe. She was compatible once, but after everything got rewound, she lost the power, and it might be hard for him to see how crucial that ability is, but he'll understand soon enough. She asks what's going on with her actual body, and he replies that she's acting like a completely different person, so he theorizes someone's taking control of her. She asks if he means she was mind-hacked, and he responds that she's clearly acting differently and is working against the Sentinel project and otherwise influenced by 426, or 426 is just straight up wearing her face. She replies that it makes some sense now why he woke her up, but it's not much to go on. Either way, she says, it's time to do more investigation as it's been a while since her memories were sealed. 5 years, she adds, and in that time, 4 sectors are dark, and calls it a rude awakening. She tells him to catch her up on major developments in the last 5 years. He says it'll be easy enough, but these are hardly comfortable surroundings for a briefing, so he'll explain in 1985. They fade to black. We fade into Event 57, a few weeks earlier. We see Renya standing at the UFO mainframe, saying preparations are done. He wants to test the biometric identification and goes to stand on the raised platform. The air around him glows blue for a brief moment, and he wonders if something went through. He checks a nearby laptop, and after it runs a check, it says it looked like that got him past the initial barrier. He then adds that with Miss Morimura's ID, he should be able to access her logs. There's a quick fade to black and back again, and Renya walks over to the mainframe. He says he found a log she left behind and begins playing in a holographic window. Catsuit variant Chihiro shows up at the comms-like window and marks the date as March 2nd, 2100. But she says there's probably not a point on dating the logs, and they've got about 4 years left until the invasion begins. She ran an experiment on her clone to try to make her more compatible, as she had more than enough data stored in Sector 0. The clone should have all of her memories, but compatibility could not be established in the clone no more than it could be in herself. She muses that maybe there's no way to survive this, and not even Tetsuya knows about this experiment. She kept the experiment secret from everyone, and the memories implanted in the clone have been sealed. So, the clone has been left in care of the 1940s Miura family, so she'll be able to grow up as her own person, separate from her, at least until the invasion happens and the log ends. Renya finds a second log and begins playback. Same view of Chihiro, but this time the log is very damaged and staticky. She says Tetsuya didn't make it back, and the remaining Sentinels are infected, so they're no good to them. Options are running low, so she needs to resort to Operation Aegis. That route risks the future of humanity itself, and she wonders how she makes a call on a decision like that, but she doesn't know how else he can survive this, and it's her only chance. The log ends. Renya turns back to the mainframe and is puzzled to see a log registered under his name, but he doesn't recall recording anything like this. The log begins to play, and the Shikishima CEO appears in the comm window, introducing himself as Renya Goto, but apparently is talking to someone on the other end of the call that we can't see. He asks if there was receipt of payment, and then he's sure the other side can see to the details. He asks if he's clear, and wants her dead by any means necessary. He tells the other side to execute her and stop the project. He tells the other side it's not his problem anymore, and it's in the caller's hands, and if the caller realizes what will happen if the project gets approved, in that it could ruin everything they've worked for, and the caller knows what must be done: kill Chihiro Morimura. The log ends, and Renya questions if that was really him, as it was a Shikishima executive from 2188. It seemed like a private communication log, but the other person wasn't recorded. It is clear, however, what they're talking about: an assassination order of Chihiro Morimura, which he seems to have called in. Fade to black, to be continued. We got you, and you. Okay. 4 final cards for this section. Mind-jacking.
This is mind-taking country.
You know, I swear there was a game called Mind Jack at some point.
That sounds familiar.
I don't think it had to do with nano. It may have had to do with nanomachines. I don't know. Sector 0's on the table.
But had Sector 0 come up before this?
Kinda, sorta, but not really.
Okay.
Sounds like it should be a chapter title or something.
The Execution of Chihiro Morimura. Film from Paramount.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, where'd I put the damn kid? Where'd I put you, hero? No, the other one. No, the other one. No, the other. There's the one. It's up here. Let's see. Juvenile clone uses sealed memories.
A few weeks from now, you go into the court board, and you find that all of your All of your note cards have just been replaced with Chihiro Morimura.
I mean, it wouldn't be that far off from... most things. Let's see, Chihiro is incompatible with the Sentinels. I have mainframe in here somewhere. There it is.
We have to... Bob has to save mainframe. I know how this works.
Let's see, and that is a potential victim of mind jacking. Not to be confused with mind bullets. And it is suspected that it has been mind jacked by 426. First starts these over here. Attach both of these. It's just like baby Chihiro. This Chihiro is also incompatible with the Sentinels in the mainframe. Future Renegoto is the Shikishima CEO. Calls for the execution of Chihiro. I find Operation Aegis around here. I think a few people in game are looking for Operation Aegis. There you
are. One of these strings is factually incorrect.
Several of these strings are factually incorrect, but at the time, we didn't know that.
I see a Durgan now.
Rawr. Well, what
You
type of
see
Durgan?
a Durgan.
Well, what type of Durgan?
It is a chunky Durgan, and it kind of has a expression. It is a happy chunk Durgan
It's a green Durgan.
with not a single thought in its head.
Oh, maybe it's a green Durgan.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, it's got a bit of a pointy head. Maybe it's a white Durgan. Those things are pretty dumb.
I mean, I can kind of see what you're talking about. I mean, I see a head. I don't see the full dragon. I see the head of the dragon.
It's kind of cat loafing.
Oh, fair enough. I'm looking at the other end.
Doesn't it feel good to have your thoughts of this game organized?
Oh, yeah, clearly. They're every bit as organized here as they are in my actual head.
Happy
I wish that was a joke.
And we still haven't hit the dot over the I yet.
We got ways.
You know, you guys keep saying this. It makes me terrified to play the next section because we're going to hit it at some point. And every section we play brings us one section closer to hitting the dot over the I. And the thing is, you keep bringing up the dot over the I, and the way you're bringing it up is it's nothing that I've commented on yet, which means it's nothing I've called.
There is something amazing you called without you realizing that you called a thing.
Huh.
Yeah.
I've called many things.
Oh yeah, and usually it's just like, oh what? Usually, well, we'll get there when we get there. But it's really funny because it's something you just casually dropped, and it's like, whoa, hang on a sec.
Great, now I'm going to be wondering what the hell. Make sure you mark that down that I just casually dropped this major thing.
Oh, I vividly remember what it
just
is.
Making sure. So when we get there, I can know what I just casually dropped.
The bad news is I don't think we're gonna get that reveal for a while because I think I remember where it is, and I think it's super duper locked.
But yes, this is the current state of my brain.
Your brain is a Durgan.
This could work for a 1990s drug PSA.
This is your brain on 13 Sentinels.
Yes. I could see them using this for a magazine ad back at that time, too.
I think I saw a magazine ad for some game like this.
This is your brain. This is your brain on 13 Sentinels. Any questions?
I love this game.
But yeah, there we go. There's been more tinfoil going on. We'll be back with more tinfoil in a few weeks. Because it'll take that long to get through the next batch of videos, at least uploading-wise. So until then, take care, everyone.
Later.
Bye-bye.